What's up, guys? Welcome to another UCBP Reacts. Today, we're reacting to Jake Paul versus Anderson Silva, the highlights. I'm joined by none other than Isaac Diaz, but today we also have a special guest, and we're joined by Andres, the Karate Kid, on YouTube. Wow. Man, Andre, thank you so much for joining us for this video. Man, you are the expert. You are the man for all these things, right? So you talk about on your channel MMA, boxing. You were just at a boxing fight.
Yeah.
Which boxing fight were you at?
I was at Lomachenko versus Jermaine Ortiz in New York City.
That's right. So we got someone in here who's going to boxing fights. So this fight just happened over the weekend, and we saw Jake Paul and Anderson Silva, the legend, fight it out. So we're gonna look at it. Look at the highlights and also give us our takes and, most importantly, Andre's, the Karate Kid's take on what happened this past weekend. Let's check it out. So we see he has a glass jaw. So
let's go, Jake Paul. Let's go.
Yeah, congrats, Jake.
Oof. And then there it is, fellas. So Jake Paul got the victory here. He got his hand raised. Seems like the most pivotal moment in the fight was the ending of the 8th round, where we see Jake Paul go for that uppercut, and Anderson Silva, goes down. I'm happy that there's a lot of obviously speculation with like Tyron Woodley and with Ben Askren about taking the money and blowing the fight or whatever it is and stuff.
Hold on. So you think this was rigged?
No. So if any doubters were out there for that, I don't think there was any rigs in those things. I think Jake Paul is an actual, he's a pretty good fighter. I think he's been improving and he's had the coaches and all that. But I'm happy that if there were doubters and stuff, I'm glad that and if that were true, I'm glad that Anderson Silva didn't do that, and they fought a great fight, which seemed like it was actually a great fight. Andres, the Karate Kid, what did you think about the fight?
I thought the fight was actually pretty good, considering Anderson Silva is 47 years old.
Yeah.
Like I say, and I say it in my videos all the time when I do a Jake Paul video, the work ethic and the promotion and the promoter that he is like 100% respectable. Anderson Silva, although he haven't been himself in the past couple of years, MMA wise, he's been doing pretty good in boxing. I think his record was 3-1, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. He's been looking good. And Anderson Silva himself, he fought Chavez Jr. He fought Tito Ortiz. Tito Ortiz is not much of a boxer, but at least Chavez Jr. alone, that's huge.
Yeah.
He's a boxer.
And he won that fight.
And he won that fight, and it was a pretty entertaining fight. Jake Paul, again, it's hard for me to give him 100% respect when it comes to the people he fights, but I respect the fact that he's going in there with the Tyron Woodleys and Anderson Silva. I respect
former champions. Can't take that away. Former champions.
At least, for Silva, I think for this fight, for me, I give him a lot more respect in this fight just because, Anderson Silva is a true striker at heart. His Muay Thai, his Muay Thai kickboxing is phenomenal.
Isaac, we saw that Ben Askren got knocked out. We saw Tyron Woodley get knocked out. Yeah. And now we didn't see Anderson Silva get knocked out, but it was a great fight, and he did get knocked down, which was the talk of the fight. What did you think about the fights?
I think literally that's what won the fight for Jake Paul, the knockdown. I mean, even the highlights that we're seeing, they're pretty evened out. Even in the melees and when they're going from round to round, we can see, man, both guys are duking it out. Yeah. Now, I want to give some credit where credit is due for Silva. He's 47, just like Andre said.
Right.
The man can still fight at 47. Yeah. He's elusive, but I was hearing some other guy say this. He said, what made it so good for Jake Paul is that he aimed and his focus was body shots. Yeah. Body shots. Why? Because Anderson has that elusive style with his head where he's moving around and people decide to say, I'm going head hunting. That's how Anderson beats you. You can't headhunt with him. Just like Ray
Longo, man. Ray Longo said, punch a hole in his effing chest.
Yeah.
Right.
And what did he do? He punched a hole right through his chest. But guess what was there? His chin was there.
Right. And we know that's his weakness. We know he has a weakness with his chin at times.
Yeah.
I think Jake Paul did a great job. I'm tired of doubting him. I would like to see him fight a boxer, but I think his next opponent will be another MMA guy, and that guy's going to be Nate Diaz.
So I'm glad you mentioned that. So what do you guys think? Andre, what do you think his next opponent? We see him already 3-0 against actual fighters. Before he's fought, I think, a basketball player and someone else, but this time he's actually fought, fighters who are fighters, right? Yeah. MMA and boxing are hand in hand, right? You need to have hands. You need to fight. So now what is his next fight? Who is his next opponent?
I would say Nate Diaz just because, but I feel like a lot of people count Nate out. I'm not going to count Nate Diaz out just because I'm kind of used to, not kind of used to, I never really doubt him, but a lot of people do at times, and then he comes out and like pulls up a victory off of not way.
Yeah.
And Jake is not going to beat Nate Diaz mentally when it comes to building up the fight. I think Diaz would be just right there neck and neck, or sometimes even better than him. When it comes to the talking smack that you do before a fight. I think Nate Diaz. I think that's a good fight. That's a better fight than Uriah Hall. I know he tried to get that fight. I know he's trying to fight Jake too, but I think
for sure,
Diaz
for sure,
be much better.
So you think the press conference is going to be amazing for Nate Diaz versus Jake Paul?
Oh, I think so, 100%.
I would pay to watch that.
I really? Okay.
You know what I mean? I would pay to watch that because even though again Nate Diaz is a smaller guy, because Jake is like. He cut down to be at 180 something, which I respect.
Mm-hmm.
Normally fights at 190 something, like 195, I think it is. But it's just, like I said, the skills of Jake Paul has improved over the years. I give him that, and to go back to the Silva fight, I feel like he, for the first time in the 8th round, he set it up. He set up that, he threw the jab, came off with the jab, came over the top with it. And it was beautiful. He got the knockdown on Silva, and that's that shows that his skills has improved, and he still got to work on a couple of things, but it showed that his skills improved.
But you're done doubting him. That's the thing. I'm done doubting Jake Paul. The kid can fight, and he has power in that right hand.
Yeah, I
think so.
In his hands, man, dynamite.
When it comes to the skills that he has, I don't doubt him on that. Just for me, I just would like to see him fight somebody, around his age.
That's a boxer.
And a boxer as well. Because that's the one thing, boxers and fighters will never give him. He gave us a spectacle of fighting these older guys and fighting former champions. And it's good on his resume as well for himself.
Well, he did call out Canelo at the end of the fight on the post-fight interview. He called out Canelo. Listen, I know I may sound crazy, but I feel that's a winnable fight for him.
No.
Oh man, that is. I do not agree with that.
Maybe I've gone delusional.
I don't.
All right.
Well, Andre said that Nate Diaz would be possibly a fight that's there. Jake Paul is 25, Nate Diaz is 37. So there could be an age discrepancy with that too. Again, like with Anderson, obviously there's more years to that. But Isaac, who do you see that that Jake Paul can face next?
Like I said, I would say Nate Diaz, maybe another MMA guy. Somebody said Joe Riggs. I heard one reporter ask about that at the presser after the fight. I'm going to go with Andre here, and I'm going to say I want to see him fight a boxer. Maybe not Canelo, but let's get somebody that's a good middleweight that can put on a great show, and he can finally show, hey, I can beat up MMA guys, but I can also beat boxers. I'm a true fighter.
Because that's the, like I said, until he fights a boxer around his age and weight, and most likely more skilled than him when it comes to it because they've been practicing more in it. But, I think he'll get the recognition 100% from fighters. I think he'll get it. All he has to do is just fight a boxer, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah. And another thing, we don't talk about the great things that Jake Paul is doing for fighter pay.
Yeah.
How he's standing up for MMA guys who don't have a commission, who don't have who cannot negotiate like boxers do. They're under the flag of UFC and they're under Dana White. And, it's a very difficult thing when these guys are putting their life on the line and they're having trouble to get health care, and all of these things when they retire. So I appreciate that side of him as well, standing up for the fighters, and calling out Dana White when you have to.
Yeah, I feel like when it comes to the UFC though, I feel like it's kind of hard because of the the Venom deal. I almost said Reebok. The Venom stuff they got going on. I feel like, so if you're not a top fighter and that everybody can resonate, it's super hard to get the money that you most likely deserve. And you get some fighters that don't even talk smack. And nowadays it's all about talking smack and social media. So I feel, which is like Demetrius Johnson, he never talked smack, but he's arguably one of the best UFC flyweight champions in the world. Beat his record. There's no mention really in him that much in the UFC anymore, which but it's stuff like that. I just feel like it just needs to, little stuff needs to change here and there. But I get it. Fighter pay is crazy.
Yeah, and I think that for me, it's a discrepancy. It's a huge discrepancy, and I think people like Jake Paul are shedding light into the fighter pay, and people like Demetrius Johnson is a great example, Andre, because there's someone who's a great fighter, right? Great fighter, but just wasn't there with his words. The person who gave us that, really, the Godfather, was Chael Sonnen. Yeah. Chael Sonnen came in there, and all he had to say is, Anderson Silva, you absolutely suck. And what did he do? What did he get? He got a rematch with the Spider. When have you seen Anderson Silva have a rematch when he had his title reign? Never, not many he had, right? And so he had that one with Chael Sonnen, and then now hey, I have to do more than just fighting. And I think that the game is changing. Unfortunately, the game is changing into not only are you have to be a great fighter, but this has to be amazing, right? Look at the Conor McGregors that came after the Chael Sonnen blueprint, right? Look at the pressers with Chael Sonnen, with Nate Diaz and Conor McGregor, legendary. And then what came after that? Khabib Nurmagomedov versus Conor McGregor, which is still the highest rated UFC fight and highest grossing UFC fight of all time, right? Because the hype behind it. That's why you have people like Floyd Mayweather. Everyone wants to see him lose, and everyone's going to pay to see him lose. Oh, yeah. Right? So this blueprint that Jake Paul is creating for fighter pay and kind of like establishing that, like, hey, there's a discrepancy here, because I guarantee you Anderson Silva made more money in this one fight than he's ever did in the UFC. That's sad. Dana White may say, hey, no, that's not true or whatever and stuff, with the Reebok deal and the Venom deal and all that and stuff. But to be honest, it is a discrepancy.
And the Rock shoes now.
Right, exactly. And the Rock shoes, don't forget that.
I want to add on Jake's behalf, not too long ago, he had arguably one of the two best when it comes to boxing women main event, Madison Square Garden, that I was there. And when I tell you it was packed, and I'm not talking about the Hulu Theater, I'm talking about MSG, the big
upstairs
room. The girls did their thing, and you don't see a lot of promoters doing that when it comes to women's boxing. You don't really see women's boxing as much. So Top Rank started doing it now, showcasing the women like that. But like Jake, he got the Katie Taylor and Amanda Soriano fight, which again, two girls that are on top of their divisions right now. And
that was back in the summertime. You went.
Yeah, and it was another fantastic showing. And it goes to show that if you give, when it comes to women or just the equality, that Jake's pushing when it comes to stuff like that, it's amazing.
That's a great point. Well, fellas, look, we broke down the highlights, we broke down the fights. Let us know what you want us to break down, and let us know who do you think Jake Paul should fight next, and who do you think? Because I don't think Anderson Silva's done. No. I think he should fight someone else. I think he's has this trajectory going in boxing. Who do you think he should fight next? Guys, let us know. Don't forget to subscribe to my boy Andre's the Karate Kid. He has all the breakdowns, he has all the highlights, and he has all the post, pre, and full live fights, post show and pre-show ready for you to go. Andre's the Karate Kid. Thank you so much, my brother. Isaac Diaz, as always. We'll see you next time.